good, everybody? How are you?
Yes, it's been a while. We are back and we are excited to engage with you all today. I'm Venice.
I'm Vernon.
Yes, and welcome back to the More Conversation
What's
series.
happening? Miss y'all a little bit.
Yeah, so today we are going to talk about a topic that has come across our office a few times lately. And it really has to do with letting your person know that you heard them, maybe reassuring them a little bit. You know what that is?
And I can honestly tell you, and I'm going to ask a question that a lot of guys ask, babe, what the hell is reassurance, though?
What's reassurance? So, reassurance can mean a lot of things, but in a relationship, when you're communicating with your significant other, no matter what the situation may be, reassurance could really just be a follow-up. A follow-up when things are not, the usual way that you would want it to be. A follow-up when there's an argument, when you feel disconnected from your person. It could really just be letting your person know, like, hey, we good, right?
Now, that sounds good, and we've heard this a lot, but I think one of the most important things that we have to talk about is the fact that the person who's asking for reassurance sometimes may not even know what that means and what they're looking for. So, one of the things that we found and we try to encourage, our couples that we work with when this word comes up is to try to identify what that looks like. What reassurance may look like for the person who's asking for, because you may know you need it. You may know you're in a situation where you need more, but you may not even know what more means. And if the person's trying to do things that aren't working or that aren't being addressed and aren't addressing your reassurance issues, then that could be a situation where you're going back and forth. So trying to be as clear as possible about what you expect from reassurance is something that could certainly help your partner out as well.
I think one of the ways that can actually happen is being okay with letting your person know what you need and how you're feeling. Because when you're not really feeling connected, or you're in a place where things may not be right between you and your significant other, when you feel a void, then letting them know, like, hey, it's okay to come to me and let me know that you're feeling that too. Or to reassure the person who is feeling the void that everything is okay, or that you do care, or that you do value them, or that whatever the disconnect is, or whatever the argument was about, you actually want to make it better. Sometimes we see a lot of couples who come in with communication concerns and issues, and one of the things we often hear is things are often brushed under the rug. So when things are brushed under the rug over and over again, then assumptions can actually come to play.
Agreed.
So reassurance is really like a follow-up and not brushing things under the rug.
Yeah, and if you don't know what your partner's asking for, say that. Be willing to let your partner know, like, look, I know we're in a tough spot right now, or I know, there's some things that, we're trying to figure out, but I want to be here to give you and support you and give you what you need, but I may not know how. So being willing to admit that and say, I may not know what you're looking for reassurance, or how I may be able to do that, but, I want to be able to support you. So, maybe we could talk about what that looks like.
I'll give one tip. Silent treatment does not help when you're not in a good space. It doesn't help reassure the situation. It doesn't help the person who is hurt, or the person who may have been the person to hurt someone. Either way, it doesn't help, and it doesn't work for either party in a relationship. So we encourage you to learn ways to communicate, and if you are silent, then it's two people in a relationship. So somebody got to give a nudge, and somebody got to say, okay, we got to figure something out.
And that goes to, I'll go piggyback off that, not being silent and not using that excuse, I'm just giving space, because that's not reassuring anything. Especially when something needs to be addressed like that and reassurance is necessary. Space is the thing that's least productive. You want to close that gap. You want to get connected with that person and figure out how you can fix it. Saying I'm just giving them space is really just sometimes an excuse to not address the problem, and hopefully it gets brushed under the rug. So, be willing to take a step forward, not backwards, in trying to, address that. But babe, let me ask you, like, we talking about it, But why is reassurance even important? Like, what's the importance of it? What value does it have in relationships?
Right. Reassurance helps to keep the flow in your relationship. It alleviates confusion. It alleviates assumptions. A lot of times when people in a relationship don't reassure one another, then assumptions could like really come into play.
And let's make it clear, like, reassurance is not just in conversation. Reassurance has to be action as well. You know, a great example is like if there's trust issues in a relationship, doing certain things to help build that trust back, like making sure you're just connecting with your person, calling maybe when you're out, letting them know when you're stepping out, you know, answering the phone when they call, things like that. You know, some of us may look at it like, damn, I'm not a little kid, why I gotta check in? But that's the reassurance is in action. And it's not necessarily that you're checking in, but you're trying to do things to help foster a better situation and a better relationship, and maybe even help ease some of the tension and some of the thoughts that someone may have, some of the trust issues they may have. And I'm not saying that the trust issues are warranted. I'm not saying that the trust issues are brought about from some action that the other person has done. But when we know it's out there and we know these are some of the things that our partner may be struggling with, just trying to do reassuring acts can just help foster a better relationship, can help our partners move through certain things and put us in a better situation as a couple.
And I thank you. That's great. One other thing I want to add, when it comes to reassurance, it can also coincide with validation. It doesn't have to always be necessary if you're not in a good space either. A lot of times when you're busy, you're working, you have children, life can continue to go on, but sometimes you just want your person to see you. And they may already see you, but sometimes you may want them to just acknowledge you. So that validation is important, and validation could be, you know, another day and another, you know, time, but it definitely coincides with reassurance, and it doesn't have to mean that you guys are not in a good space. But sometimes you just may need your person to just pull you to the side and say, hey, you're doing a great job. I want you to know, I see you, and, thank you. We all need a little bit of that sometimes.
No doubt about it.
And, like we mentioned before, it creates a flow in a relationship when you are, present enough to say, hey, I hear you, I see you, I heard the conversation, and I want us to be in a good place. And it's one of those ingredients that are necessary to keep the flow in a relationship. Now, if you're in a relationship and there is a lack of reassurance, what could happen?
Yeah, you could get distant, man. It could cause mistrust, man. And it could be really, really bad. Resentment is something that could really come up from that. So you just want to be aware of those things.
Right. You could definitely become disconnected if you're not aware of how important it is to reassure and validate and just have that open communication about what it is you're feeling with your person. It's essential.
So. Reassurance may be annoying, but it is something that's necessary. Yeah. And it's something that both sides got to practice, and if it becomes a part of your relationship, it really can strengthen the foundation of your relationship for sure. So don't run from it, you know what I mean? Try to embrace that.
And before we go, I just want to say, hey, ladies, your men need reassurance too. It's not just us all the time. They need to, really feel that as well, because they're out here doing what they have to do as well. So relax. Too. But anyway, but real talk, they need that. So if you have a significant other where you don't really tell them that, you see them, you feel them, and reassure them, do that. Men need it too.
No doubt.
So thank y'all.
Love y'all. Peace. I'll let y'all later.